What up, guys? So this is gonna be my review from the Star Wars The Last Jedi. As you guys can see, I bought home a little souvenir R2-D2. What I think about the film. So this is gonna be a quick review. I don't want to waste your time. I did write a review on my blog and on all platforms as well. I didn't like the film. Look, visually speaking, I thought the film was great. It had a lot of really cool new ideas that they brought to Star Wars. For instance, the positives, I really liked how they showed the progression that Luke has gone through from the last time we saw him, which was the Return of the Jedi, how much he's learned, and like obviously how much he has mastered of the Jedi knowledge, I guess you want to say, of the Jedi legacy. But on every aspect of, not every aspect, like I said, I love the visuals of it. If you had to break down like the characteristics, so let's see, character development, story, continuity, visual effects, and mythology. The visual effects and mythology, in some cases, I'll give mythology a positive, visual effects a positive, but the other three are all negatives. And that's a shame. Like, this didn't feel, and this wasn't a Star Wars film. After watching it, I came back and I just watched 2 reviews after writing my review to see what the review said, and all the reviews are positive, and like, I feel like a lot of reviews nowadays are not being honest because they don't want to be honest because they don't want to hurt. Obviously, they have a fan base of people who watch the movies, and obviously they get paid to do reviews, to YouTube reviews. But that's why they're obviously going to be very lenient to certain movies. And they're like, oh well, some Star Wars fans are going to say that they don't like how, for instance, Luke can project his body and have the Force use this to do that. And like, no, Star Wars fans would like it. I love that idea. I love the concept that obviously through the years, Luke has mastered that Jedi ability to be able to portray physical appearance of himself, whereas or manifest himself in a certain location. That's awesome. And for instance, like Chris Stuckman said that, oh, that's not really part of what the Star Wars used to be. No, it kind of was. Think about it. Obi-Wan, Jedi, they both came back from the dead as visions, as physical visions. It's not like he clearly sees them and other people see them as well. It's not like it's a voice that he hears like in the sky and there's some leaves going around. No, they're clearly in front of him as visions, kind of like ghost representations. So we already knew that they obviously when they die they ascend, kind of thing like Stargate, they ascend to energy, pure energy. Whereas now kind of like we learned that obviously once you master a certain skill, because remember the Return of the Jedi and this, it's a 30-year gap, so up until the fact where Luke goes away to this planet, he has been training and mastering, and then obviously he got to this planet where he didn't read the books, or he might have read the Star Wars books, but all this is kind of like meditating and developing his skills. So that's why, yeah, very believable, and you know that he would have like such a strong thing. I also love the fact that, I loved it but I hated it. I love the fact how Snow was actually the one controlling when Rey and Kylo were connected to each other. I thought that was pretty cool, but I hated how they used him. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why build up this really awesome bad guy, really cool and interesting bad guy? How like you wonder what he's doing, what he's gonna do, and like he's pretty sophisticated and smart. How he was like, I could feel that Kylo had conflicted issues in him, and that would bring you to the ship. You would fall for it. But then like, so he's smart enough to realize that Kylo is conflicted, and obviously smart enough to use him for that, so he used him as a puppet, but at the same time being dumb enough to not realize that Kylo is still conflicted, because when he's like, oh, but I can clearly see now that he's not conflicted, and he is my apprentice, and now he's gonna kill her, and not like he's looking at him, and he can't even sense a single hesitation, thought that he's about to like double cross him. That's so stupid. That's one of the most stupidest things in the world. The next thing we have, which is really stupid, there's a lot of things that really got to me about this film. The fact when they go off to the casino planet, I forgot what it was called, that entire thing is redundant. I mean, it did not feel like a Star Wars. That felt like more like, for some reason, it reminded me of James Bond. And a lot of the film aspects reminded me, it had a flares. And at first I was thinking like maybe it was like kind of like the new Star Trek, the third Star Trek, the way they shot it. But then like kind of like we're walking out, and like my mate said, it was more like Guardian of the Galaxy, where you have these really cool action scenes and this really random slapstick comedy and other like jokes put in there to obviously kind of like make it more humorous. And I was like, that's a perfect yes. Or even like Thor. When you think about it, Star Wars is no longer Star Wars with this film. It's become like one of those generic kind of popcorn flicks where you just get really cool visuals and just random laughter. And it doesn't do anything because there is no, I guess, character. There is no. You don't get anything. You don't get attached to any of the characters. Like, for instance, what was the point of us showing Chewie eating the little furry birds? And then, like, obviously he doesn't care for them, but then, like, he takes them on board. Like, I don't get, he fell in love with them. Is he now becoming more vegan? He's gonna eat them later on. If he's a predator and we clearly see him eating them, he scares them off, and like, yeah, everyone's laughing. But then all of a sudden, like, they're best friends because they're in the ship and they're like co-piloting. Like, for me, that kind of didn't make sense. Another perfect example of this was in The Force Awakens. We get told that R2-D2 knows the location of Luke because Luke left it within him in case something happens, so in case they need to contact him and get back to him. But then in this film, Luke is like, he doesn't care. Like, Han's dead. Obviously the Empire is striking, gonna kill the rebels, and his sister's in trouble. He doesn't care about none of it. He just wants to be left there alone. He doesn't want to train Rey. So it's a little bit conflicting. Like, why did you give him the peace if you just want to die? You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you? No. And then when you look at Luke's character from the original trilogy, when he fought against Darth Vader, and he knew where Darth Vader was. Darth Vader wasn't conflicted like Kylo was. It wasn't even like a child like Kylo was. And like Luke is the epiphany of light and hope in the Jedi sense. Like he literally could have let Darth Vader kill him, but he took that risk and he managed to convert Darth Vader in the end. Yet all of a sudden in this film we're told that he saw hesitation in Kylo, and instead of trying to teach him the other way, he tried to murder him, which is completely against the Jedi. Like, it goes against everything that he believes in, to murder someone, especially in their sleep. And that for me just baffles me. Like, why? Why make it like that? I mean, that was the most stupidest part of the film I could possibly see, and I can clearly see why Mark Hamill, he even said like he disagreed with every line that he had in that film, or everything that his character stood for, because it doesn't make sense. It literally is illogical unless Luke Skywalker fell on a rock and like all of a sudden like he changed. It would make more sense for him to go dark, he would like become a Sith or something. That literally would make more sense. But yeah, so like the film is like, I feel like all over the place with everything. I feel like they try to create this. They try to create this, I guess, superhero world, and it doesn't work. Like, unfortunately, a lot of things in this film just really don't work. Like, Finn's character had no character development. Like, what did Finn do in this film? Like, honestly, when you think about it, he woke up, he got himself another love interest, although he was already the love interest slash kind of brotherly love, if you want to say. Like, you don't know if they're going to do it or not do it. Like, with Rey, and all of a sudden there's Rose, and then they go to the casino planet. They find the Codemaster, well, different Codemaster. They get there, but then like they get captured anyways. So like Finn's character really didn't do anything. Like, we didn't learn anything new about his character, apart from like nothing. Like, we literally didn't, and he didn't progress as well. Like, when he progressed, like, oh, don't trust people. Well, he kind of already knew that. And I'm trying to think. Like, there was a lot of instances where the film, I guess, kind of let me down. Because it didn't feel like when you're watching it, you're watching this a very well shot, and I have nothing against the director. I mean, he wrote and directed it. As I said, nothing against the director, but against the guy who wrote it. It was very well directed. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I felt like it did its job on the presentation, but it failed on the inside of it. It's kind of like someone who's really good at writing words or really good at talking, but they talk about nothing. That's literally the best way to explain it. Someone's got a silver tongue, but no quality on what they're saying. That's what this film was. Like, it was beautifully shot and had really good visuals, but there was no quality to what was shot. There was no need. Like, after 3 hours, and then the thing is, if you look at it from start to finish of the film, nothing really changes. At the start of the film, they're being chased by the Order. At the end of the film, they're being chased by the Order. And Rey hasn't really. The only thing she learned is about herself. Like, she actually hasn't learned anything. Like think about she knows about the Force. She had 2 lessons and she kind of bailed on that. But yeah, this film is pretty bad on aspects of being a Star Wars film. I feel like they could have called this Galaxy Wars and used all different names, and maybe then I would have liked it more, because obviously it wouldn't have been associated with Star Wars, and the characters would have been different, and the character decisions might have had different, obviously, intentions, which could have worked. But in this instance, that just didn't happen. And so, yeah, unfortunately with that, kind of I have to say that this film for me failed. If I had to give it a score out of 5, I'd probably give it a 2, purely based on the visuals. Like, the visuals are really cool to look at, but there was no quality, there was no inside tension, or there wasn't anything really happening in the film. And that's a shame. I mean, that's a shame coming from a Star Wars fan. I did have the whole, I bought apart from tickets, I bought the R2-D2 one, then I bought the big popcorn thing with the glass, and I couldn't bother keeping it. I just decided, this looks pretty cool. It's from the original ones. I mean, apart from here, it is R2-D2. It's not one of the new characters, so guess that's the only thing I'm keeping. But yeah, look,